Today we're going to be reviewing one of XP-PEN's drawing tablets. The particular one today will be the Deco 3. They have a new one that's out, and I'll be comparing these two soon to let you know how they compare against each other. Now, this review is not going to be like a lot of the others, so I'm not going to just chuck tons and tons of specs. I will give you some of the main specs that I think are important. I'm also going to let you know the main reason why I've chosen and decided to go over to XP-PEN compared to Wacom, basically. Money was one of the big issues. I had a lot of the Wacom ones. I think I've spent up to about 300 quid on a drawing tablet. I've used it for a while. Over time I wanted to try out something new. I've tried this. Well, actually, before I tried this, there's a couple more over there, but I tried a few different makes. UG, I can't pronounce the other one, Hayuan or something like that, starts with a H. They were around the 80 to £100 price range, so in line with basically this brand and this particular model. And I didn't like any of them, in all honesty. They were good, but I found the drivers were a bit twitchy, so I wasn't that impressed. They did the job, and I was able to still edit and everything with them. But I think as my workflow with my digital editing, so a lot of retouching that I do because I'm a photographer, required something a bit more precise, especially when I'm outlining and drawing around and trying to cut somebody out from a background. Right, so let's get on to this. So I'm not going to do a crappy unboxing. I'm just, this is what we're talking about. Don't need it. In the box, this does, I've already taken it out, but it does come with some foam and a little plastic cover that goes around it. You also get the pen holder, so this is your pen holder, very handy. You get your USB cables, which I can't show you because they're plugged into the computer, and big bag of stuff. So we don't need any of that. So I'll talk quickly a bit about the tablet first. So you've got 6 programmable buttons, which are really nice. They're just enough so you can feel them. The 2 center ones have 2 little raised bumps, so you can distinguish them between the bottom and the top. You have a rotary dial at the top which clicks, which is nice. I have this set in a way, so for example, this left button will activate it as a zoom, so I can zoom in and out, and the right one here activates it then, and I can make it into the brush sizes, bigger and smaller. So that's what I use that dial for mainly, and then obviously I have my copy and pastes. You can program them however you want on there, which is good. It's nice and thin. It's USB-C, which is nice, which means this way it's more right hand orientated. If I'm going to be drawing, if you're left-handed, you can flick it this way, and you don't have to worry about which way the cable's going to go, because you have, I don't know if I can show you, I can't, I wish I did. Basically the USB-C cable that we have here, it's an L shape, so obviously I like to have the lead running up, so if you turn it around this way, you can, because it's USB-C, you can have it running up either way you want, so up again. Thickness wise, it's nice and thin, which is nice. It's not heavy at all, and for me it sits nice. This is like a medium sized tablet if you compare it to a standard sized keyboard. It's fine. I will do a quick, almost side by side comparison to my previous Wacom, and to explain why I swapped. So I am going to have to look on some papers because I haven't memorised any of it yet. So I had the Wacom Intuos Art Touch, the medium version, and I didn't have Wi-Fi with that, and that cost me about 175 quid. Well, it cost me more, but it's £175 if you go onto Amazon and buy it now. The Deco 3, that set me back 110, I think. 120, maybe a bit more. I think about 110, 120 when I got it. You know what? I will actually double check. I don't want to tell you the wrong price. Okay, 100. It was £100 I spent. So I bought this tablet for £100, and I'm going to give you a nice side-by-side comparison. So first of all, we'll go for the things that stood out just for me. So this one for £100 was wireless, 2.4 gigahertz wireless, which was handy. In the back of, so in the little pen holder that you have here on the bottom end, you have your pen nibs, okay, you got your pen nib tool to remove, and then you have a very, very small 2.4 gigahertz receiver for the tablet. Top end, if we unscrew, you have your pen, which is a passive pen, so no battery in there, which is also an added bonus, so it's nice and light. It's got a rubberized grip, so you will not slip on there at all, and 2 buttons that you can program yourself as well. Only thing I would change about this is it would be nice to have a flat edge along one side with the rubberized grip, so I can lay it flat on my desk, which I'd prefer than having it stand up, because I'm just a clumsy sod and I constantly knock it over. On the back of the tablet, I just have a very simple on and off switch, which will connect to the wireless receiver, and you just carry on drawing from there. To charge it, it will run off your USB-C, and if you're using it wide like I do as well, it will charge it at the same time. So the passive pen has 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, whereas my Wacom had 2,048. So you're talking 4 times as much, or 3 times as much as what you've got here. With my Wacom, I didn't have my wireless, so I had to pay, well, you'd have to pay, I think, an additional 40 or 50 pounds, so which then ends up bumping up the price to around 220 quid for the Wacom, as opposed to 100 here. The reading speed of the pen for my Wacom was 133, where it was 266 on the XP-PEN. The working surface area, Wacom again was 8.5 inches by 5.3, where here it's 10 inches by 5.62 inches. So that worked better for me as well. They were my main things, to be honest. I'll show you that anyway. Setting up wise, really easy. I just plugged it in, I installed the drivers, restarted, it was done. I didn't have to do anything in Photoshop. The only thing that I had to do was just set up my buttons, set up my rotary dial, and do the S-curve. So let's head straight into Photoshop and I will show you how well it works. Okay, we're in Photoshop now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my taskbar. I'm going to open up the pen tablet box. This is what pops up. So once you've installed your drivers, so the procedure I went through first was I installed my drivers, and then I installed my tablet. So I plugged the USB in and then the USB-C into the other end, and then this comes up. I did a system restart, and I'm going to just give you a very brief talk through of how this is laid out. So right now I'm using my tablet. So obviously you can see here you can adjust your barrel buttons. So one set for me is right click, the other one for me, obviously because for editing purposes, is my pen and eraser, so I can flick between them both nice and easy. Here you can see you have your what I call curve. This adjusts your pressure sensitivity according to your pressure. So if I have it all the way down to the left here, because the pen is that sensitive, it was making me have dark lines when I didn't want to. So I moved it over to the right, so I have just a bit of pressure, a bit more pressure than I would normally do, in order to get a faint line when I'm drawing and editing in Photoshop. And I've done the same here. The further this would be to the right, the harder it would have to be in order for me to reach the darkest point when pushing down with pressure. So right now you can see that I'm pushing down. I'm not pushing down very hard at all. Probably about as much as I would do if I was sketching with a pencil. So this will for me, this works twofold. One, it will look after my tablet a lot better. Secondly, you know, I know nibs are not expensive, but the nibs will last a bit longer as well. To the right here, if you have, and the good thing with this that I found is sometimes I use multiple screens, 2 screens. I can span this tablet across both screens, but obviously you've got to remember you won't have as much resolution. Or you can pick one screen if need be for editing. So when I'm in Photoshop or in Premiere, I will have my main screen where I'm doing all my editing, and on my right screen I will have an output, so a main image that I would be working on. So if I was mainly working on my left screen, I could assign this to monitor 1, and if I wanted to span across both, it will be monitor 1 and 2, or if you wanted it to be the second one, monitor 2. So I've not tried it with 3 screens yet, so I can't comment on whether it works with 3 screens, but by the way it works, it shouldn't really be an issue. You can pick left or right hand mode. Okay, that's quite self-explanatory. And your express keys here, you get to program each of your express keys, 1 through 6, and as well as your dial here. So let's get into Photoshop now, and I'll give you a rough idea how it works. So right now, you can see, if you look at the bottom, this area down here, you'll see that every time I press my first button on my tablet, it's flicking between my brush size, and if I click again, and my zoom. For me, that's just my workflow. You don't have to, so I can quickly do this, and then I can zoom in and out nice and simply. Really nice way of working for me. Now, if you're wondering why it's stuttering every now and then, it's because I've got so much in the background recording what we're doing at the moment. So if I pick the opacity, just the opacity with the brush, and I push down very, very lightly, you can see it has such a nice transition, light to dark. There's no, you can't even see like layering and stuttering. You can see a teeny bit here, but absolutely fine. Again, if we just go by pressure, see now you'll see how it tapers off lovely. Can you see that? If we zoom in, so we can see the end of the taper marks, you can actually see how well it graduates really nicely off. You can't even see a sharp fall off at all. It's really, really nice. Look at that. Another good thing, and this image isn't mine by the way, another thing that's really, really good, if you're working on fine detail, so let's just, I'll actually push it, and this has not been I've not pre-thought this out, so I'm doing this on the fly. I'm going to pick a small brush. If you press one of the keys on the tablet, which is their fine detail mode, that small square here uses the full surface area of the tablet for you to work in. So I can trace fine detail, nice. And that's because it's using the full surface area of the tablet in just this small box. So it's really, really nice. I mean, really nice. See, if I turn it off and I want to work in this small area, you can see the movements. So even though it's smooth, it's not as smooth as this. See the swirls? Yeah, it's a lot harder to do. I'm using more of the surface area. That's just a lovely feature that I like. That's just already preset straight in the tablet. Just press it and off you go. Really, really nice. Again, flicking between buttons, everything. I think the maximum distance you can hover above the tablet is 1 centimeter. The buttons, there's no delay in button presses, so I can go from brush to eraser. Sorry, brush to eraser, nice and quick. Brush, eraser. See, I've used some of the cheaper ones, and there's just a delay between anything you press, or it shakes. I mean, right now, if I'm going to hold the cursor, the pen just on the surface. I'm going to try not to move it at all with my own shakiness of my hand, and if you can see, it's perfectly still. Some of the cheaper brands, even some of the Wacom ones I've had, you get this very weird where it kind of like shakes like this, which I hate. So for me, I even messaged XP-PEN, which is very rare for me. I messaged them saying the tablets were great, but because they are. It's not very often I'll turn around and say this is a great piece of kit, but this is genuinely a really good piece of kit, and it's not breaking the bank, and it's up there with the big boys that are charging 3 times as much for a drawing tablet. So I'd advise you nip over to their website. I'll put the link down below. I'll give you a link for Amazon. You can just go and have a look and try one out yourself. I mean, nothing to lose. Amazon give you 30-day money back, and I think that some other ones give you 14-day. Give it a try. I promise you, even if you're with a Wacom and you want to sell that and have yourself a bit of extra cash, I'd say go for it. And the guys in my class that I teach, 2 of them now have one, and not one of them have complained to me saying there's any issues. They've all loved it. They're getting on with them fine. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review from me, and I will see you soon.